Welcome to Xian Voice. Continuing from the previous episode. The Burning Flame Valley was situated in the Roasting Fire Mountain Range in the southwestern part of the Middle region. This mountain range was completely formed by hot volcanoes. At a glance, it was a monotonous crimson color. Some of the volcano's peaks emitted a dense white smoke that curled and rose. Occasionally, there would be some lava seeping out of them. The Roasting Fire Mountain Range possessed a great reputation across the entire central regions. Of course, part of the reason for this was because the Burning Flame Valley was located here. The other part of the reason was due to the harsh environment of this mountain range. Although the environment was not really pleasing to the eye, the endless volcanoes had resulted in the fire affinity energy in this place being unusually dense. Practicing fire affinity chi methods here would undoubtedly allow one to gain double the reward with half the effort. Hence, there were quite a number of fire affinity chi method practitioners who would take the risk and come to this place even though they were aware that it was very dangerous. The Roasting Fire Mountain Range was not far from Tianwang City. The journey took less than half a day. Moreover, the flying speed of the enormous bird that Elder Kai Huo used was quite fast. Hence, Xiao Yan could vaguely sense his surroundings gradually fill with natural energy after a short 4 hours. This kind of fullness was vaguely mixed with some violence. Xiao Yan's eyes looked into the distance as he stood on the back of the enormous bird. He could only see a fiery red line at the edge of his sight. This fiery red line was quite imposing, and one was unable to see the end with a glance. KK, young friend Yan Xiao. This is the Roasting Fire Mountain Range. The headquarters of the Burning Flame Valley is located within. Elder Kai Huo smiled to Xiao Yan as he continued. The Roasting Fire Mountain Range is filled with fire affinity energy. However, due to the volcanoes erupting all year round, this energy contains some violence within it. If one wishes to absorb it, one would need to expel the violence within. Otherwise, one's mind would be affected after training for a long time. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. Although Xiao Yan did not need to be afraid of this violent energy due to the heavenly flames protecting him, this was mentioned with good intention by the other party. Additionally, there are many magical beasts within the Roasting Fire Mountain Range that are even more wild, violent and fierce compared to other places. Moreover, this Roasting Fire Mountain Range is vast and unending. Even my Burning Flame Valley has not investigated some of the places within it. Hence, young friend Yan Xiao should be careful if you walk around by yourself. KK, thank you for your reminder, Elder Kai Huo. Elder Kai Huo waved his hand in an unconcerned manner. He swung his sleeves and the fiery red, enormous bird under their feet increased its speed. Immediately, it transformed into a fire glow that rushed into the continuous mountain range. After entering the Roasting Fire Mountain Range, Xiao Yan finally managed to get a clear look at it. Greenery was rarely seen within this mountain range. At a glance, most of this place was crimson ground. Even a patch of grass could not be found on the ground. It seemed that the environment in this place was indeed quite harsh. The temperature had also significantly risen after having entered the Roasting Fire Mountain Range. However, the temperature was nothing to Xiao Yan or Elder Kai Huo. Hence, neither one of them was overly concerned. Elder Kai Huo's eyes swept over the mountain range. His mouth immediately emitted a whistle. The fiery red, enormous bird gradually reduced its speed. A moment later, it slowly descended and landed at the foot of a bright red mountain. Xiao Yan's eyes drifted after he leapt down from the back of the bird. There were two extremely majestic bright red mountains in front of him. These two large mountains were leaning close to each other. A meandering stone staircase curled its way up the mountain. Xiao Yan's eyes paused on a spot not far in front of the stone stairs. Surprise immediately flashed through his eyes. The space there was vaguely emitting a shocking spatial ripple. Clearly, there was a hidden space behind it. KK, young friend Yan Xiao, follow me. Elder Kai Huo smiled. He took the lead to climb up the stone stairs. Xiao Yan followed close behind as his eyes slowly swept around. His heart felt a slight caution. A moment later, their footsteps came to a stop at the end of the stone stairs. Only after walking to this point did Xiao Yan realize that there was a spatial wall here. Xiao Yan gently pressed his hand against the spatial wall and a shocking repulsive force surged out, ruthlessly repelling his hand away. What a firm spatial wall. Xiao Yan shook his hand. Shock flashed across his eyes as he spoke. KK. This spatial wall has been toughened by the valley chiefs of my burning flame valley over the generations. It is able to block the attack of an elite Do Zun. An ordinary Do Zong will not be able to break it. Elder Kai Huo laughed. A spatial wall that can block the attack of an elite Do Zun? Xiao Yan involuntarily clicked his tongue when he heard this. It was indeed worthy of being the burning flame valley. Such a foundation was something that other ordinary factions could not compare with. Elder Kai Huo laughed. He took out a fiery red jade token from his storage ring and placed it on the spatial wall. A strange ripple spread, and one could see the spatial wall automatically parting in a slow fashion. Young friend Yan Xiao, please? Elder Kai Huo smiled to Xiao Yan. After which, he took the lead to step in. His body disappeared in a strange fashion after having stepped through the spatial wall. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment. His footsteps moved and he slowly walked into the spatial crack. Following his entry into the spatial crack, the place in front of him suddenly brightened. He habitually shut his eyes before immediately opening them in a slow manner. The shock in his eyes immediately became dense. Extremely long stairs made of green stone appeared in front of Xiao Yan at this moment. The surroundings of the stone stairs were a lush green. Xiao Yan lifted his eyes and looked into the distance, only to see that quite a number of buildings had been revealed among the greenery. There were the voices of people vaguely being transmitted lingering over this boundless valley. Creating one's own realm. It is indeed worthy of being one of the three great valleys. Even someone like Xiao Yan could not help but exclaim when he saw this scenery that was completely different from the common world outside. KK. This cannot be considered creating a realm. That ability is something that only a Do Shen class existence is capable of performing. However, after being built by generations of chiefs from my burning flame valley, this place could indeed be considered a utopia among the volcano world. Elder Kai Huo waved his hand. However, there was a pride between his brows. The work involved in building such a large valley in this volcano world was worthy of being called huge. Xiao Yan grinned. His hand grabbed at the empty air in front of him. The fire affinity energy of this place was still as dense as the outside world. However, the violence within it had already disappeared. Clearly, it had been purified. Raising his head, Xiao Yan glanced at the sky and vaguely felt that there was a distortion to it. Obviously, this entire burning flame valley was covered within a layer of distorted space. This method was similar to the inner academy. However, it was clear that the spatial barrier was far stronger than that of the inner academy. Xiao Yan let out a surprised sigh within his heart. Numerous sounds of rushing suddenly appeared around the surrounding forest of the stone stairs. Over a dozen agile figures rushed over. Immediately, they landed around the stone stairs. Only after their eyes landed on Elder Kai Huo did they reduce the caution on their faces. All of them then bowed respectfully to him. These human figures were all wearing red-colored clothes. Moreover, they were not very old. Nevertheless, the threads of Do Qi that seeped out of their bodies was relatively powerful. Xiao Yan nodded upon seeing this. It seemed that the talent of these young disciples of the Burning Flame Valley was impressive. Young friend Yan Xiao, please follow me. Elder Kai Huo smiled to Xiao Yan. After which, his body moved. His feet stepped onto empty air as he flew toward the deep regions of the valley. Behind him, Xiao Yan also stepped onto the air and followed close behind. All of the Burning Flame Valley's disciples revealed a shocked expression in their eyes when they saw this. That person is actually a Do Zong. Why is he so young? It should be some senior who purposefully turned himself into this manner. I heard that some medicinal pills possess a beautifying effect. This should be it. If this is his actual age, would he not be comparable to Miss Huo R? That's right. Just one abnormal person like Miss Huo R is sufficient. It would be too much of a blow if there are more of them. Xiao Yan did not hear the private conversations between these people. He followed Elder Kai Huo closely. They flew for a couple of minutes before gradually descending. Finally, they landed in front of a large, fiery red hall. There were many buildings in the middle of the valley. Quite a number of red-clothed Burning Flame Valley's disciples were shuffling around them. Occasionally, the sound of people sparring could be heard, allowing some liveliness to surge within this enormous valley. At this moment, there were quite a number of Burning Flame Valley's disciples guarding the fiery red, large hall. Their cautious eyes repeatedly swept all over the place. It seems that some other alchemist grandmasters have arrived. Elder Kai Huo muttered as he looked at the tightly guarded, large hall. What does your valley chief want to refine? Is there a need for so many alchemists? Xiao Yan knit his brows and asked. KK, there is no need for so many. Instead, the intention is to find one or two suitable ones among these alchemists. Of course, even if one is not selected, the Burning Flame Valley will still prepare a big gift. Young friend Yan Xiao need not be worried. Elder Kai Huo smiled as he explained. There is a need for selection? Xiao Yan knit his brows even more. If he was not selected, it was likely that he could forget about the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. He did not think that the Burning Flame Valley would hand their secret technique to others so easily. Oh, I'll wait and see. Xiao Yan helplessly shook his head. At this moment, he could not simply turn around and leave. All he could do was sigh and nod his head. Elder Kai Huo let out an awkward smile when he saw Xiao Yan nod. After which, he hurriedly led the way in front. Behind him, Xiao Yan sighed as he looked at the grand, fiery red hall. He swiftly followed. Since he had already arrived at this Burning Flame Valley, he would obtain the Skyfire 3 mysterious change regardless of what happened.